So, yeah, please welcome the Eduardo Lima. So I will. So are you ready, Eduardo? Yep. So I will hand over to you.
Thank you very much. And sorry everyone for being late. I'll try to squeeze in my presentation as much as possible without losing any of the content. I was actually dragged to the other campus, and traffic didn't help us. So first of all, thanks to the FOSSASIA organization for having me, accepting the presentation. This is my first time in South Asia. It's been a pleasure spending the past 5 days in here in Hanoi and getting to know your culture, getting to know the country a little bit. So today I'm going to talk about careers, careers in open source. The reason why we are here, for LPI to be here, is to continue its mission to promote the the use of open source. And within the open source realm, we're going to be looking at how to get a job in FOSS. So as I mentioned, our mission is to promote the use of open source through the people who work with it. That means promoting those who have the skills to work with open source, and those who can prove they can work with open source. And that's one of the most important things. We are in a global economy, and there are opportunities for everyone, everywhere. Open source is a very big opportunity, as I'm going to show you, and proving that you have those skills, you have the knowledge internationally may bring you very good opportunities for your career. A little bit about LPI. We were founded in 1999 in Canada. So this means we are turning 25 this year. Since 2000, we have the LPIC 1 and LPIC 2. Those are the professional certifications. We've grown a lot since then. And today, as of this graph shows to 2021, we have reached in 2024 over 300,000 certifications delivered. We have a network of more than 700,000 people connected to LPI. And those are all professionals starting their career or well advanced in their career. So it's also another opportunity for those of you, especially the students that are here, to get connected with them. My buddy Jiang from Oracle, we've known each other for, I don't know, Jim, 20-something years now. And he'll be talking about career as well from a different perspective, and how you can create your career within open source. So I think we're going to be complementing each other with the presentations. A quick look at the LPI presence. We are in every country that is in yellow. That means over 195 countries, and we are working really hard to get all these countries in yellow now. And I don't need to preach to this audience about the importance of open source and how big it is in the market today. So we know that FOSS is the actual software industry standard. Most of the technologies used today are either based or running totally on an open source environment. From infrastructure to services delivery, we have pieces of software, open source software in there. The reasons for that is the competition fostering and enablement that is provided by the open source, and how the industry works. It gets faster innovation because we have contribution from everywhere. Right? People joining communities and helping develop and helping maintain codes for every piece of software out there. Being open gives users, companies more flexibility on and adjusting the software for their needs. The controlling independence of technology providers. So we are not in the hands of just one or two companies out there, two corporations out there. Most of these, they belong to the community. And we can take advantage for that and not being trapped in for a single provider. It also provides some more reliability and security because there's a lot of people looking at the code at the same time. And most of all, it provides local labor qualification. And that goes also for universities, students that through open source and through its openness have more access to knowledge from these technologies. That goes with training, that goes with practice, that goes with exchange of ideas and congresses like this, seminars, and all the other community-driven activities. A little bit about the market, and you will notice that this is a study from our fellows at the Linux Foundation. Some might say that we are very big competitors, but we do collaborate because this is an open source environment. Although we are competing, we are also working together. And this is valid for the whole market. It's valid for everyone that is in this room. Some of the interesting points in this, we can see that hiring managers are saying they're hiring open source talent is a priority. So as open source technology is being adopted and used in big corps and companies out there, the need for open source professionals has just increased, right? And this number has been increasing a lot. They are also hiring more managers and more professionals than they were a few years back. And one of the problems they find with this is that there's not enough professionals to hire. So there's a big need for new talent, new graduates, new professionals in the industry, right? When you talk to professionals, 3/4 of them are reporting that it would be easy to find a new position within open source because of this need, because of this demand. So especially for you, the students that are here, pay attention to this and be sure to go after skill building on top of open source technology, whatever it is, right? You see that once you find what you like to do, what is fun for you and interesting for you, just start with that and start developing your skills around a or more than one technology, open source technology for your career, and build your base on top of that. We have several different representatives from different communities in this conference, so make sure to talk to them and find the best opportunity for each of you. The slides will be available, correct? If I leave these slides with you, it's going to be available for everyone, right? So you may get a copy of these slides later, but also this study with that name, the 10th Annual Open Source Jobs Report, is available online for free. A little more numbers. These are some of the skills that are needed in the industry. They point out architect solutions based on open source software, so you've got to understand how open source works. You've got to understand and know the technologies that are out there to build the solutions that companies need. experiencing in the use of open source tools as well, knowledge of new tools. Those are the top priorities in the skills that are being demanded by companies out there. And in terms of projects and technologies, Linux is still the #1. Everything in the cloud runs on Linux. Everything runs on top of Linux. Everything depends on Linux everywhere. So it's one of the top priorities and top roles that most companies are looking for. And because Linux is such a big deal and such a well-needed skill for professionals to work in this area, LPI has been working on different certifications. This is a simple view of our certification. So we start off at the base, especially for the students out here. We have an essential certificate track where we cover basic and entry-level skill building for Linux, security essentials, web development essentials, and open source essentials. Web development, this is the only certification we find in the industry that will cover HTML, CSS, Node.js, and JavaScript in one single exam, right? Last week, we have launched the open source essentials. This talks about and covers skills around business models around open source and different licensing and projects management. This is highly important for anyone, even non-technical people, to have in their curriculum. This will help you understand the importance of licensing, and especially when you're creating your own software, when you're building your own solution, what you can combine and how you can combine those technologies and those pieces of code without creating any legal problems for your company, right? If you want to know more about the certifications that we have, this QR code or the link down low will take you to each certification and details about the exams and where to get trained and certified about it. On the professional side, we start with LPIC 1, that's the Linux administrator, Linux architecture, and then specialization in one of the key areas. We also have BSD specialist that comes from the BSD community, and DevOps tools engineering. DevOps tools, it's about the tools, not methods. We are working on a new certification on DevOps methods like Scrum and Agile. Just a quick look on how to position those certifications in your career. It would be important or recommended to start off with the Linux Essentials in any careers. Open Source Essentials is also part of that. And then you build up the next levels with LPIC 1, LPIC 2, and specialization. And different tracks or different job positions require different certifications. So make sure to try to align your career to the needed certification. In order to help people get prepared and learn about the topics that are covered by the certifications, LPI has a very big community initiative called the Learning Materials. These resources are available for free. They are online and available for download in over 13 languages, including Vietnamese. So if you need help on finding materials that just support your preparation for the exams, this is a place to find it. And as you can see, Open Source Essentials with the tag in development, the certification was launched last week, and we are already publishing some of the some of the curriculum, and some of the content to help you get prepared for the exam. We do have programs, partnership programs for different types of companies and also universities to help students get access, easier access to the certification and to preparation for these exams. We have the right program for each area or different types of companies out there and different types of institution. So if you want to learn more, I'm at the OSBC's booth all the way to the left of the main hall. You can look for us and better understand these programs later. And for those of you that are here and really want to take this certification seriously, we are offering a 20% discount on any certification exam. This is available for purchases within this month. So you can scan the code and create an account with LPI. You will need it to redeem the code and be able to schedule your exam at Pearson VUE. So the voucher is valid for a year, so you can take advantage of the discount, purchase the voucher, and prepare yourself for the exam soon. All right? And that's it. I know I was late, so there's not much time for questions. But if you do have questions, please, we can take it outside and answer your questions briefly. All right? I'll leave this here real quick so you have another chance to scan it. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, and I'll hand it over to the...
Thank you, Eduardo, for the great insight. So yeah, thanks for waiting. The next speaker is Jim, and he's talking about developers. Build your careers now. It's all about the careers, your developer career session. So are you ready, Jim? Yep, hand over to you.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome. Good morning. My name is Jim Grisanzio, and I work at Oracle in the Java Developer Relations team. And I build communities, and I profile developers. My slides are all photographs and just a little bit of text, and so I'll see if I can get through everything. I really love profiling developers and taking pictures, so that's really all I have to show today. As I said, I used to work at Sun Microsystems, and these are some of the actually the leaders of Sun years ago. This image is from 2019 at the Sun reunion in California. Now, at that time, Sun had already died for 10 years. It was taken over by Oracle. And behind me, I'm shooting the image, so behind me there's 1,000 people. And what's interesting about this is that these people built a company that could actually have a reunion 10 years after the company was gone. That's incredible. That's really, really amazing. So that's the power of community and the power of contributing to open source. And those are the types of things we'll be talking about here. So the overall context for what I'm talking about here and all the things I've learned from FOSS developers about career is these people tend to do a few things in common. First, they develop very serious skills. They master things. Okay? They're not simply familiar with things, they master them. The second thing they do is they contribute something of value to a community. Okay? And the third thing they do is they actually construct their network, their personal network from those contribution processes. That the most important thing is the contribution. Now that entire process is important because it generates value for you, it generates value for the community, and also your employers, which is very, very important. So this is the Tokyo Linux user group. I actually live in Japan, and I used to manage this group years ago. And this is just a recent image here. So the important thing to remember is everyone wins when everyone contributes. Okay, that's me, and that's my IDE. Years ago, IDEs were strictly hardware. Now, as you know, they're software. And but this is when I was a kid, mostly your age actually, and this is where I learned the art of craft. This is where I learned to work with craftspeople and artists and hackers, and they were all hardware people because they were in the construction business, but that was my machine. And I used to build homes. I used to dig holes and build homes and grade roads and things like that. And yeah, so the people that I learned with and people I mixed with back then remind me of you guys now. It's the same mentality, people who use their brains and their hands to actually build something. Okay, the most important thing for your career, I believe, which is based on all the interactions I've had with developers for 20 years, is the contribution, okay? When you mix with a community, when you enter a community, participating, showing up is one thing, but it's most important to contribute something, okay? That's important because that's what cuts through the noise. Communities are very loud and noisy and sometimes, hard to understand. Well, recognize that the organizers of the community are specifically looking for contributions. The way you can talk to them is to contribute something. Now, it could be source code, it could be podcasts or documents, or really anything that you want to contribute or anything that the community needs. This is my friend Sai from India, and he's always speaks a lot about contributions. He runs the All India Oracle User Group. Now, if you're going to contribute anything, anywhere, I highly suggest the FOSS community, which is actually why we're all here, right? And the reason is FOSS communities are designed for contributions. There's an expectation of contribution and merit. They are meritocracies. Just in this one image, this is a long time ago, 2004, there's, Java is represented here, GNU Linux, Apache, Solaris and O'Reilly. These were all very large communities. So all based on an expectation of contributing. This is where I work now. This is the Java, Java community. It's a very large community of 10 million developers and obviously very global. This image is it's in Las Vegas at Java 1 a few years ago. I know pretty much most of the people there in the image. And along the bottom of the slide, you'll see underlined text. Those are all links. So, so later you can get the slides and you can follow up. There's like 70 links in this presentation. It's just my favorite sources for community building and career building. And we take contributions, so in multiple ways, either through user groups or documents, articles, code, things like that. If you're going to contribute to communities, I suggest contributing to, or at least participating in multiple communities, okay? Because not all communities are the same. They don't necessarily overlap. The cultures can be quite, different. And this is another image here from Java 1 in San Francisco. This is a list here of all the communities I've participated in. It's a lot. And that's one of the reasons why I'm interested in seeing how different communities function. So don't just contribute to one community, try and get involved in multiple communities. I do draw a distinction between networks, communities, and people for the purposes of building a career. Obviously, community is very, very large. You don't necessarily know everybody. You shouldn't, Your network is something that you build within the community, so that's very personal, and you should obviously know all of those people. But most important to remember is you have to build one person at a time, okay? It's the only way to do it. So think small, one person at a time, medium, and obviously large. These are some engineering students in Indonesia in 2009, and I had this very conversation with them, then. Right, so some of these principles are timeless about how communities function. As I said before about merit, it's very important that when you approach a community and you're going to contribute and get involved, to make sure it's a community that is based on merit. This way, it's not a perfect world, nothing's ever perfect, but this way you have at least a certain confidence that they're going to take a contribution. They're going to allow you to make, relationships, trust relationships and things like that. This is an image from, this is actually an unconference in Hawaii a few years ago, and we've got about 10 different communities represented here in this image, because we built the, we built the event specifically with that in mind. Please don't try and build your, career alone. It's too hard. There's too many things going on. You can't know everything. And so you need mentors. Really specifically go out and try and find mentors, and also be a mentor as well, because once you're involved, you have something to share. This is a very good friend of mine, Denise Cooper. She knows everyone in the world in open source, and probably everyone else as well. She was very valuable to me when I joined Sun in 2000 for introducing me to this whole concept of open source and community building, and she remains a mentor today. And mentors are, they tend to be leaders, okay, in the community, but one of the cool things about how communities function is that leadership is distributed, and it's distributed via action. So just because somebody has a cool title from a company or something like that doesn't necessarily mean they have any seniority within the community. It's based on action, and people are, there's a lot of sort of normal people in communities who have very substantial, very substantial authority. And so this is an image from the Community Leadership Summit. Jonah Bacon there on the left, sitting down, is the leader of that. And he actually obviously comes from the Linux community. And there's plenty of leaders in communities that you can engage. This is a concept here, performance versus success. I wish I knew about this when I was a kid, actually. If you haven't read the book, The Formula, it's the link here on the right-hand side. It's called The Formula. And it's about, a few principles about how networks function. This concept of performance is interesting. Performance is about you. It's your skills, how much you can work, how good you are, essentially, right? But performance is bounded. You can't work too much. You can't. There's only so many hours. There's so many lines of code that you can write. Things like that. It has a bound around it. Success, however, is not about you. Success is about us, the community. Success is how the community is basically the result of what you contribute. Okay, and the whole point here is this is why we contribute. When you contribute to a community and the community scales, it scales way more than you could possibly scale alone. Okay? So this concept is really, really important. Performance and success are obviously related, but they're not the same thing. Another concept outlined in the book, the same book called The Formula, the link on the lower right, is called productivity versus innovation. And this is important for young people as well as old people like me. All right? We oftentimes, older guys like me hear, oh, you're not as innovative as the young people, they're smarter than you and this and that. But it turns out that when you get a large data set, that's not true. And this author here, Albert Barabase, actually has a data set of all scientists, all papers for 100 years. That's a pretty good data set. And it turns out the signal says that as long as you can produce the same volume of work, it doesn't matter the age, the same volume of work, you have the same chance of success. So it's not about age, but it is, however, about productivity. And this is where older people can't produce as much as younger people. So keep that in mind when you're young now, is to stay healthy, because when you get older, you will drop off in terms of your productivity. And this is actually a friend of mine, actually a Bashir Khan, who I learned a lot about productivity from him. Oh, and by the way, just to go back, this is obviously James Gosling. He's the father of Java, and a friend of mine, and I learned obviously a lot from him about actually both performance and success, because he and his friends years ago built one of the largest communities in the world. Okay, assertion. We all have to assert ourselves, and this is very hard for a lot of people. It's very hard for me. These two engineers here from Beijing actually impressed me substantially when they stood up at a conference and they had an issue to discuss with the entire kernel team at Sun. That's 300, kernel engineers. If you know anything about kernel engineers, they're a pretty smart lot and a pretty tough lot. And these two kids at the time stood up and they actually held hands, just like you see here, and they said their issue and they had a discussion with the team. And it just impressed me so much that they did that. That's very assertive. And so be assertive is very important because it's the only way we know our value in real time. This obviously is a picture of Linus Torvalds, and right after I took this image, I had a conversation with him, and I told him how I lost my platform and how I was the Open Solaris community manager at Sun, and at the time, years ago, it was Linux and Open Solaris. There was a lot of conflict, and I had a great conversation with him, but it was very interesting that he listened to me talk, and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry because I lost my project." It's very important to think in terms of your project as a platform. You stand on that platform and you do work, but if that platform goes away, you have a problem on your hands, like I did. But he was very kind. He gave me half an hour of his time. We had a great conversation, and I learned a lot from it. So. Change happens. These are a group of engineers, database engineers in India a few years ago, and we always talk about this concept of change and blistering change and how to handle it, and AI and autonomous databases are changing markets, and so everything changes in every moment, and we have to realize that we can't fight this. It's the world we live in, and it's best to just embrace it. This is a friend of mine, Matthew Dons. I've learned a lot about him, about learning. Now, I think it's very important that we leverage all the tools that we can, but never allow a tool to take out your ability to think. AI is great, ChatGPT, all these things are great to help you. But don't ever allow something to take away your ability to learn, and then you become dependent completely on some tool. And all the links, at the bottom of the slide point to really innovative learning techniques that come from the scientific literature that have been around for 100 years, but they're just not taught in school. And they're really interesting concepts like spaced repetition, gap effect, mastery versus familiarity. Especially from this book called Make It Stick on the right-hand side. That book is extraordinary. I highly recommend you read that book. It's a very simple read, but it gives you practical steps that you can keep learning in an innovative way. One of the ways that we do learn, and one of the most effective things that developers do, is they tend to go very, very deeply into things. This is, another friend, Satoka from Japan. She's hacking at Tokyo Hackerspace. And I noticed this is in all developers. You see that at conferences here. They're around a laptop. They're hacking on something. They're focused very, very deeply. The brain works differently at the surface versus at deeper levels. When you're doing surface work or shallow work, it's very hard to do innovative things. You really create true innovation and interesting things that get you promoted when you do deep work. And there's obviously a book that's called Deep Work by Cal Newport. He's a computer scientist. Also an extraordinary book to read. These things are hard. I totally admit it. Career is a hard thing to do, but it's necessary. The Stoics knew this 2,000 years ago, to embrace hard things. This is a friend of mine, Ayana, from Japan, and behind me is thousands of people. She's on the keynote stage at Java 1, very prestigious conference. And, this had to have been hard for her. She's doing, obviously, a martial arts, show here. But she's in front of thousands and thousands of people. And so she bowled through it, and she succeeded. And that it just illustrated to me to embrace hard things, because your career is a hard thing, and your brain adapts. Neurologically, your brain adapts when you push through things that are very hard. Mastery is really what we're talking about here versus familiarity. If you listen to a podcast, you take a class, you do this, you do that, that's good. That means you're familiar with something. But the point is to master something. All the developers that I've learned from who have achieved these huge successes, they are true experts in something, whatever it happens to be. This is Bonnie Korn. I worked for her for 10 years in Solaris, and she managed our engineering team. She's an extraordinary manager. I've never in my life experienced such a highly skilled manager. She focused on details, 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 details. It's the only way to deal with complexity is to master the details. This is another friend, Joey Ito from Tokyo. He's obviously a photographer. He used to lead MIT Media Lab. He's a PhD. He's very famous, but he's a super nice guy, and he's very, very approachable. And one of the things that he taught me is to think in terms of the possibilities. Now, just, when I say taught me, I'm observing this in these people, okay? They don't actually, teach me. I'm just observe what they do. I observe very, very carefully. So you have to work very deeply on your career while this focused work, but then take time to come back up and look at the broad, picture and see what's possible. It's another hacker friend of mine, Chris Benson from Oracle. He built this machine with some, help. From Oracle teams. It runs all of Oracle's, software, Java, Linux, and everything. But that's 1,000 Raspberry Pi. I have 5 minutes left. And so my point here is to go bold. And when you go bold, you attract other people to your project. I mentioned earlier about old and young people. If you're young, take your health very, very seriously, because you need to be able to perform throughout time. And I've been in the hospital for years. I know what it's like, and I can assure you, you can't build career from a hospital bed. So just the message to take your health very, very seriously. All right, we're just going to end up with some comments from the community here. This is the guy I work for right now at Oracle, Sharth Chander. Again, Java has 10 million developers, and Shar believes that community is the most important thing. And I agree with that. This is Venkat Subramaniam. He is a professor and a teacher, and he's also one of the more famous engineers in the Java community. And he believes that writing code and seeing it evolve is therapeutic. This man is after quality. He loves code, he loves developers, he loves people. True quality. The guy in the middle there is Brian Cantrell. He's a kernel developer from Sun years ago, a friend of mine. And he said, ideas are expressed in code. The implementation is the idea. To have a conversation with Brian, you should write some code. This is the way they think. Okay, you don't just talk and talk and talk and talk. Get an idea, write something down, write some code. All right? The implementation actually expresses the idea. Another friend, Alan Burleson, obviously from Solaris, he's talking about privilege, contribution, and things that are earned, okay? This is all this supporting what I've been talking about. Simon Phipps, another friend of mine from Sun, talks about code is king, and the people who write it make the decisions. So in any community that you go to, the people that tend to make the decisions are the people that are doing the work, okay? So it's another sort of illustration that when you come into a community, to not be passive. Actually assert yourself and write something and contribute something. The guy in the middle there is Stephen Hahn, and he's also a friend from Solaris, a PhD. And Stephen always used to say, people in the community are, you're always interviewing. So when you're doing code reviews, you're exchanging emails, you're having arguments and debate, you're integrating code, you have your contributions, all these different things, you have conflict. All this activity it's in the open. You're on open mailing lists of one form or another, open forums. That's your interview. We're talking about career here. Think in terms of your very work, things that you do every day in the open community. You're interacting with your colleagues. but it's open. Everyone can see it. Treat that as your interview. Another guy I was very close to years ago was Stephen Chin, and Stephen was, actually worked for Stephen at Oracle. He always used to say, "You are what you do. You are what you do right now." Stephen was always very good at engaging new projects and just saying, "Oh, we'll figure it out." Again, action. This is my podcast. I've interviewed hundreds of people and for videos and for audio and streams and things like that. Right now it's focused on Java, so it's called Duke's Corner. This is the type, everything I've said to you is what I do with these interviews. They're all non-technical. We talk about technology, from a broad perspective, talk about people and community, and I always bring up career. And this is a friend of mine from Google. I don't have anything to say, I just love the picture. And finally, this is a Java conference. This is an unconference. It's in Hawaii in January. So my question to you is, how do you get here? There's no call for papers with events like this, usually. The answer is, you have to know these guys. You have to know them. It's just that simple. And how do you do that? It's, well, you got to master some skills. You have to contribute something to a community. And in that contribution process, you build your personal network. You benefit, the community benefits, your employers benefit. That's the system. Those are the things I've observed from developers, who I interview over the years. This guy here is Bruno Souza, and I've known him for Bruno, just like Eduardo, for like 20 years. He's in Brazil, and he talks about career all the time. All the links on the bottom there point to either interviews I've done with him or his book, okay? Super, super sweet guy, and again, he knows everybody in the world, so he knows how to build career. And that's it. If you want to get the slides, they're right there. There's about 70 links in the slides pointing to various career resources, community development resources, and just my favorite links, basically. Cheers. Oh, and one thing, I have one Java shirt. I have to get rid of it. It's a large, it's American large, student only. So I need to ask a question. Who's the father of Java? It's for a free t-shirt, guys, a free t-shirt. Students. He was in the slide. I'll give you a hint. He was in the slides. Do you know this man? This is James Gosling. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay.
My answer is the father of Java is James Gosling.
Right, thanks everyone. So thanks for the great speech, Jim. So the next speaker is Rich. So he's talking about your conference presentation, how to raise the bar.
Hello, and thank you all so much for coming to this talk. My name is Rich Bowen, and I'm on the board of directors at the Apache Software Foundation. I also work at AWS as an open source strategist. And I attended my first technical conference in 1996. And since then, I've attended hundreds of conferences and attended hundreds of talks. And I am sad to say that many, many of those talks were terrible. And I want to give you some tips. Now, I want you to understand that I don't have all the answers. I just have my opinions, some suggestions. Each one of you needs to develop your own style of giving a presentation. And this matters because everyone that's in this room has a story. You have a message. And you need to be able to present it in a way that people will actually listen. So what the first tip that I'm going to give you is that I recommend that you find a speaker that you really admire. A talk that you attended this week or at some other event that inspired you, and think about why. So this is my guy. This is Damian Conway. He is the best conference presenter I've ever attended. He is engaging. He's hilariously funny, and you remember everything he says. And it's been 20 years since I last saw him on stage, and I still think about him when I give presentations. I try to be like him. This is another one. This is Mark Jason Dominus. He gave a presentation about 25 years ago in which he told me, and I felt like he was talking to me, he told me why my presentations were terrible and what I could do to make them better. And that's him playing a harmonica on stage, which is something that has stuck in my mind all of these years. And he's the reason why I have the confidence to give this talk, and why hopefully you'll laugh at some of my jokes. Now, if this was your first conference, maybe you saw Harish yesterday, and he gave what I thought was one of the best talks yesterday. And also, coincidentally, he did almost all of the things that I'm going to tell you that you should do in your presentations. So if you attended Harish's talk, think about the tips that I'm giving you and relate them to what Harish did yesterday. Okay, so this is me giving a talk 6 years ago, back before my beard turned gray. And so the first thing I want to tell you about is why I care about this. There's two main reasons why I care about this topic. One is that I attend a lot of conference presentations, and I don't want to be bored. I want to be entertained, but I also want to learn. I want to remember what you tell me. So that's the first reason why I'm giving this presentation, because as I said, everyone in this room has a presentation in them. You have a story to tell, and I want you to tell it well. The second reason, the deeper reason why I'm giving this talk is that I care passionately about open source. And when you give your talk about open source, I want your audience to listen. I want them to remember, I want them to catch your passion, but I also want them to remember your points. I want them to remember the story that you're telling, and then go from your talk and start doing. So that's why I care about this. All right, so diving in, I'm going to give you 8 practical tips to make your conference presentation better. The first tip is that you should know what your talk is about. Now that may sound like a stupid thing to say, but you should have in your mind every moment that you're on stage, the one thing that you want your audience to remember, the thing that you want them to do when they get home, the thing that they want to tell their friends about. That should be in your mind the entire time that you're talking. Because if you don't know what your talk is about, then I won't know either when I'm done listening. Okay, so if somebody missed your talk and you go outside the talk and they said, what was your talk about? What is the one sentence that you will tell them that your talk is about? That should be in your mind the whole time that you're talking. Now, often this is framed as a call to action. Call to action means, what do I want each one of you to do when you leave this room? Well, what I want each one of you to do is to think about the story you want to tell, and think about effective ways to tell it, and ways to do your presentation that will keep it in everyone's mind. That's my call to action. I want you to give better talks. You should know what your call to action is. Also, you should be excited about your talk. If you're not excited about your talk, if you're not excited about your topic, then your audience is going to be looking at their phones. They're going to be bored. They're going to think, maybe I should have attended that other talk because that sounded more interesting, because this speaker clearly doesn't care about what they're talking about. So that's point number one. Point number 2 is don't tell me your life story. Far too frequently, I get into a talk and the presenter spends the first 10 minutes telling me their resume. Now, if your talk is in fact about your life story, that's different, obviously. But I am in your talk to hear about your topic, not to read your resume. Now, some people, well, let me say, so when I got on stage, I told you my name. I told you very briefly my title, but that's not what you're interested in. And then I told you why I care about this, which is that I have been attending conference presentations for 26 years and most of them were terrible. And that was it. That's all I told you about myself. And that's enough. Tell me why you're on stage and then move on to your topic. Your slides, oh wait, no, I skipped something. Let me say, there are people who feel like when they get on stage, they have to convince you that they are qualified to give the talk. And I understand that. And this is especially true for new presenters, first-time presenters. But I want to encourage you to remember that there are 3 reasons you don't have to do that. One is that the conference selection committee chose your talk, so they thought you were qualified. The second is that everyone sitting in these seats chose your talk to attend, so they think you're qualified. And the third reason is you're qualified. You're passionate. You presented the talk. You have the qualifications. So you don't have to persuade me of that. All right, point number 3, your slides are not your presentation. Your slides are cue cards. They are a way to keep the audience looking at you. And so don't spend so much time putting together your slide presentation that you forget your message. So here's a picture of my cat, and my cat's up there so that you'll look at the screen, but also so that you'll look at me. I change the slides frequently so that you don't get bored and look away. If you have a slide on the screen for 15 minutes, then people are going to lose interest and they're going to look away. So, I also have lots of notes up here. I'm cheating, and I encourage you to do that as well. But your slides are not your presentation. You are your presentation. Now, I'm also cheating because this is not a technical talk. And when you're giving a technical talk, your slides are important. You do need to have useful stuff on the slides. And I strongly encourage you not to make me read your slides. And even worse, don't do this number. Don't do the thing where I read my slides to you. I can't tell you how many talks I've attended where the presenter stood with his back to me and read his slides to me. If you want to write a blog post and I'll read that, but that's not why you're on stage. If your slides are the presentation, then what are you here for? So, you know. Oh, and while we're at it, here's a slide that was at a presentation that I was at last week. And this was supposed to convey useful technical information. And I have no idea what's going on here. And I can't read any of it. And yeah, don't do this. I would even go so far as to tell you to do what Jim did. Don't put words on your slides at all, except when they are conveying a very important point. The slides are, they're giving a visual reminder of what was said, but I want you to be listening to me, not reading what's going on behind my back. So, use words on your slides when they convey the specific idea that you want people to remember, and make that as brief as possible. Like Jim did, it was one word, and then a very brief explanation of that word, so that you're not reading while he's speaking. Now, back to technical presentations. If you are giving a technical presentation, sometimes you need to show code, and I presume that almost no one can read what's on the screen here. So what you want to do is highlight the specific portion of the code that you are talking about. Animations are good for this if you want to zoom in on a particular piece that you're highlighting. I've attended several presentations this week where people had a terminal window that was scrolling past rapidly, and I have no idea what was going on. I couldn't follow it. It made me feel stupid. It made me feel like I was missing the point, but also that there was something that I was supposed to understand, but I didn't. And any time that you make your audience feel ignorant, that you make your audience feel stupid, then you have lost them, because they'll think, oh, this isn't for me. I'm not smart enough for this talk. And then they start thinking about something else. Anytime you allow your audience to start thinking about something else, then you have missed your opportunity. And I only have 20 minutes up here on stage, and in that time, I have to justify why I flew for 2 days to get here to my manager. Okay, point number 4. A presentation is a conversation. Now, in this particular case, I'm just talking and you're listening. If you're giving a technical presentation, you must always be prepared and willing for people to interrupt you and ask questions. Now, this is a bit of a balancing act, because I've been in presentations where one person in the audience essentially gave the presentation because they kept interrupting. They kept asking all of the distracting questions. Don't let someone hijack you. Practice saying, let's take that question into the hallway afterwards, since I have a lot of material to get through. So I'm always welcoming and eager for people to ask questions in my presentations, but you know, you want to be able to moderate that a little bit. So 2 additional points that I want to make here. One is that if, like me, you give a lot of remote presentations, this can be extremely difficult. Talking to a screen for an hour without being able to see the audience is exceptionally difficult. And if you have to do that, I recommend a couple things. One is to give the presentation to some of your friends. Give it to friends that understand the topic. Give it to friends that don't understand the topic. And this will allow you to refine your message and make sure that you understand your audience. The second thing that I recommend is that you record yourself and watch yourself. I'll come back to this in a minute, because there's another point that I want to make around that. But recording yourself gives you a way to see whether you are engaging, whether you're maintaining eye contact. And speaking of eye contact, I recommend speaking to specific individuals in the audience, making eye contact and talking to that person. This does a couple things. One is it lets you see if people seem to be understanding, if they're engaging, if they're reflecting the emotion that you're trying to transmit. The other thing is, and this is a bit of a psychological trick, if you make eye contact with somebody, after you do that, they feel awkward about looking back at their phone. And so, you know, it's a bit of a social engineering here, trying to make people continue with that eye contact after you have done this. A little bit of a mean trick there. All right, an extremely practical tip here is use the microphone. Now, I cannot tell you how many talks that I have been to where the technician says, "Do you need the microphone?" And the speaker says, "No, I speak very loudly." And let me tell you, you don't. You may think that you do, but there is someone in your audience like me who is deaf. And that person is sitting there struggling to hear your words. And I find that very, very challenging. And if I cannot hear what is being said, I tune out, because, you know, I've been struggling with deafness for 40 years, and I know that I'm not going to be able to hear you, and so I just tune out. The other thing about microphones is there is someone sitting over here who you cannot see, who is in charge of the soundboard, and he knows exactly what he's doing, and he has tuned the microphone for this room so that the audio levels are correct. And you should trust them, and you should use the microphone so that the audience can hear you. These folks back here are the stars of the show in many ways, because without them, no one would be able to hear. So use the microphone. Let me give you some tips about using a microphone. You've attended some talks this week where people would hold the microphone here. That does not work. The microphone goes in front of your mouth. And I don't want to be condescending here, but I do encourage you to practice with the microphone. I encourage you to show up early in the morning before your talk. Make sure that your laptop connects to the projector. Make sure that the microphone is going to be handheld, or is it going to be on the podium. Make sure you know, so that you know how to anticipate whether your hands will be free. If you're somebody that talks a lot with your hands, it's a good thing to know. Now, I also encourage you to record yourself. Most of us hate the sound of our own voice. But if you take the time to record yourself and then listen, you will discover that you have annoying voice patterns that you were not aware of. And I have spent my entire career trying to remove some of these stop words, they're called in linguistics. They're these sounds that we make that fill the space between words. You'll notice that I still do these, but I've eliminated most of them by listening to myself talk. I used to do a podcast, and after I would do the recording, I would go back through and I would edit out all of those stop words from myself and the person that I was interviewing. Sometimes this would result in a 30, 40, 50% reduction in the total length of the recording, because some people have very annoying stop words that they're just not aware of. So record yourself, notice these things, practice not doing it. Also, if you tend to talk with your hands, be aware of that, watch yourself. If you tend to fiddle with things in your pockets, make sure that you empty your pockets when you get on stage. Don't wear your conference badge because it flaps, it goes against the microphone. These are all things that you will learn if you record yourself. Slow down. Pausing between words does not make you look like you don't know what you're doing. It makes you look thoughtful. So slow down, speak more slowly, particularly if you are presenting to an audience that does not share the same first language as yourself. If you speak more slowly, you will be more understandable. I recommend lots of slides. In a training that I recently attended, they called these beats. Every time you change the visual, it's a beat, and it keeps people's attention. This is Neil Peart. He's a drummer of a band that I'm very fond of, and he gives the beat to the music. And every time you change the slide, it's a beat. And that keeps people's attention. It keeps them hopefully from spending the presentation looking at their phones. I aim for 1 slide per minute, because I think that's about how long I can keep people's attention with my voice. And so I try to put a new slide up. Sometimes I try to put a funny slide up so that people will laugh and other people will say, "What did I miss?" and they'll look up. It grabs attention again. A beat is not necessarily just a slide. It's also changing something else visually. So if I walk across the stage, that's a beat. It gets people's attention because something new is happening. And this is another beat. And my final point is that a picture is worth 1,000 words. I loved your presentation, Jim, because it was full of these photographs, and I would recognize some of the people, and I would recognize, oh, I was at that event, and I remember that presentation. And it's a way to convey information that is so much more valuable than trying to put a lot of words on the screen. I love this particular photograph It was taken by a friend of mine named Chris, and every time I look at it, I think, what on earth was I discussing with Daniel at that moment? I can't remember. But it's clear that I'm very agitated and upset about something. I remember the event, and I remember him taking the picture and saying, "What are you all talking about?" But I don't remember what we were talking about. Slides should evoke images because many of us think in images, and it makes this visual connection between the point and this image that will stay in your mind, perhaps. And this one, it always makes me laugh. So, that's it. That's what I have to communicate, and my slide clicker just quit working. But these are the things that I strongly encourage you to do if you want to give a presentation. Now, one of the things that I love about this specific conference is that it has so many first-time speakers. And I go to a lot of conferences where it's the usual suspects. It's the usual people on stage that I have seen giving the same presentation every year for the last 25 years. And I'm one of them, and I really appreciate conferences like this that focus on students and focus on new speakers. But you want to make sure that your speaking opportunities are successful, so that you come away from it thinking, yeah, I did a good job and there were good questions and this is something people will remember, because I want you to give that second talk. The second talk is the important one because it's the one that says, yeah, I can do this. And my entire career has come out of a conference talk that I gave in 1997. Everything has come from that. So I really encourage you to embrace these ideas. Think about what you're passionate about. Think about the story you want to tell. And these are my tips. Come up with your own. Come up with your own unique style. But give a presentation that engages people and makes them want to come back for more. This is my slides are all on GitHub. They'll be on the conference website sometime next week as well, I assume. But thank you all so much for your attention. I am completely out of time, and that's my last tip. Use every second that you have on stage because your message is valuable. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex. I'm responsible for the professional services and technical support at ONLYOFFICE. So, you know, it's brilliant to be here again, at FOSSASIA. And I'm really happy that there are so many students here who would like to be involved into the IT. You know, this event, it already holds a special place in my heart, and I must say that FOSSASIA is my favorite event ever. Thank you a lot to everyone. So, and today I'm going to share with you an exciting story about how ONLYOFFICE, a document editing tool, is changing the world of open source document collaboration. I'm also going to uncover some secrets behind our success. So let's get started. I hope it will work. No? Yeah, great. So before we dive into the magic of open source document collaboration, so let's get to know ONLYOFFICE a little better. We do have two flagships. The first one is ONLYOFFICE Docs for editing your documents, and the second one is ONLYOFFICE DocSpace for organizing your teamwork. ONLYOFFICE is all about giving you different options. Whether you would like the cloud's convenience or you would like to use your private server in your private network, or maybe you would like to be offline and use desktop editor, so you are covered. You also can use our desktop editors to to be productive on the go, to work with your Office files on the move. You know, it's compatibility, security and flexibility rolled into a single package. OnlyOffice is designed to work on any platform. Whether you are using your good old Windows or Linux machine, or you are using your iPhone or Android device. So we've got the perfect setup for you. The core format of the product is Office Open XML. I will talk about that a little bit later, but anyway, so. And of course, both products, OnlyOffice Docs and OnlyOffice DocSpace, are open source. They can be used for free. You can download them and use under the license, under the terms of AGPL version 3 license. For big companies and big projects, we seeking for dedicated support and scalability options. So we do have our commercial editions, of course. Now you know a little about OnlyOffice, and let's look at its history. That's very interesting, believe me. It all began in 2009 when our small team, really small team, decided to switch from making multimedia apps to development of Office solutions. And that all began with a platform for internal collaboration called TeamLab. In the year 2011, we hit a major update. So we introduced the Documents module with document management and document editing products in the form of integrated desktop editors. And we also developed calendar and CRM modules to enhance the collaboration features of our product. And we released mobile applications for document and project management to enforce our users to be productive on the go. You know, we in 2012, so that was a really game changer for us. We reached the turning point to solve the problem of documents looking absolutely different in different browsers on different operating systems. We decided to create our own editors. And at TEBIT, a big technological conference in Germany in 2012, we released the world's first HTML5 based editors. These editors made sure that your document will look absolutely the same in any browser and on any operating system. The next important point was in 2013 when we decided to switch from our internal formats. Saying internal formats, I mean DocT, XLST, you know, where the letters T stands for TeamLab. So we decided to switch to Office Open XML format. That's very important. And this decision made sure that we will work perfectly with Microsoft formats. By the way, we have introduced the cool new feature, collaboration mode for presentation editors. That's very important. And the TeamLab started as a small product, and then it was a platform for internal collaboration. But now we want to do more. We always wanted to do more. And we released some integrations with the services like Box, OneDrive, and open source OwnCloud. We also have changed the interface of our editors to be more user-friendly and modern. And we rebranded as OnlyOffice. And what's very important, we went open source. That was the start of a new chapter for us. Again, OnlyOffice transformed from a platform for internal collaboration into a full-featured Office suite. At that time, the most popular solution on the open source market were LibreOffice and OpenOffice. They were very good, and they are very good, with editing ODF files, so open document format files. But they struggled with the compatibility with Microsoft files. And they didn't have that beautiful feature, collaboration, when you can work on the same document together with your teammates. But the big players like Microsoft and Google, they already had that feature. And in the 2010s, OnlyOffice occupied a unique position in the office editing landscape, bridging the gap between the open source editors and proprietary solutions. OnlyOffice had anything you need to work with your documents, but hello? Yeah, excuse me? Yeah. What sets OnlyOffice apart is its full compatibility with Microsoft formats and its collaboration features. And by the way, what's very good about OnlyOffice, its integration with open source services like OwnCloud and any other. And anyone who were working with open source products were able to find an alternative to proprietary products. OnlyOffice is based on HTML5 canvas technology. What does it mean? It helps us to make sure that your document will look absolutely the same in every browser and on every operating system, no matter where you are or what device you are using. That's all. By the way, it allows to work with Microsoft files and use everything you need for editing your documents while using very little memory of your machine. So you don't need a lot of resources of your desktop. The core format and actually the technological stack revolves around Node.js and JavaScript. JavaScript, being one of the most universal and modern languages, is being used on the client side to handle all client-side interactions. And on the other hand, Node.js for server-side scripting. Again, OnlyOffice can handle a lot of different files, and you can have access to everything you need, to a big set of different features organized in a tabbed interface. OnlyOffice spreadsheets editors allow you to work with more than 400 different functions, formulas, to organize your data, to work with your data using pivot tables, using conditional formatting tools, and moreover, you are able to integrate your JavaScript macros to automate your day-to-day routine. OnlyOffice presentations allow you to create nice-looking slides. You can use different options, you know, transitions, animations, notes, and many, many others. And one important thing, so we do have fillable forms. You can create fillable forms with interactive content. You can create new field like text, like combo box, like drop-down list. There are a lot of different fields. These fields can be used in your document. Then you can save everything to PDF format and export for further distribution. And you can assign recipient roles to these fields, making to users easy to identify, to visually identify which fields to fill out, just, for example, according to the assigned color. And a good news, we have PDF editors. The current version of our PDF editors allows you to move through the document, to print it, to add some annotations or drawings, but the next version we are going to release very soon will have full-featured PDF editing functions. And now again to the core format. As I said already, Office Open XML, what does it mean? It means that we can open, create, edit, and save Office Open XML files, what we used to use as Microsoft files maybe. Moreover, OnlyOffice can work with PDF files, with open document files, and with old legacy Microsoft formats like Doc, XLS, and PPT. OnlyOffice, created for document collaboration, allows you to track changes made by your co-authors. It also allows you to add commands to different parts of the document. It allows you to mention other users for feedback or use the features like version history. You can restore a previous version of a document just with a single click. There are also options like document comparison and document combination available, and there are different modes for co-editing like strict mode and fast mode. Real-time communication, that's great. It's very convenient to communicate with your teammates when working on the same document. You can use built-in chat option, but you are also welcome to integrate, for example, Telegram plugin. I'm not sure if there are a lot of people who are using Telegram, but that's just example. Any kind of messengers can be integrated into OnlyOffice. So you can connect your Telegram account, you can chat with your Telegram contacts right within the document. You also are able to make video and audio calls using Jitsi and Rainbow plugins. And all these examples are just one of a lot of different plugins available in OnlyOffice. All these plugins allow you to extend the functionality of the editors. For example, you can translate your text using DeepL or Google Translation services. You can use images from Pixabay ImageBase, or you can create bibliographies using Zotero or Mendeley plugins. There are a lot of different plugins that can be used with OnlyOffice. And of course, we couldn't overlook the potential of AI. So we have created, again, few examples to show you that any AI assistant can be integrated into OnlyOffice. Any AI assistant with OpenAPI, of course. The first example is ChatGPT. You know it. So it allows you to work with your text. It allows you to generate text, to translate text, to generate keywords, to work with your chatbot in a conversational mode, just asking questions and getting answers. You know, I think you know everything about ChatGPT, and it depends on your license. The next example is Jipo Copilot, created by Chinese students. It's very good for text-based tasks, and it caters Chinese-speaking users, as far as I know. Again, examples. We do have integration with Stability AI and Mistral AI, but if you would like, if you are aware of any beautiful looking AI assistant that you would like to be integrated into OnlyOffice software, don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. We are here to make OnlyOffice smarter for you. OnlyOffice takes security very seriously. You can deploy the product in your isolated network to make sure that there is no data stored somewhere on OnlyOffice servers. Everything is in your private network. Using JWT, using spatial permissions, user can have complete control over all the documents. And you are also able to protect your documents using watermark, just using password, or using digital signatures. And of course, we follow the international standards like Hieu and GDPR, treating your personal information very, very carefully. So OnlyOffice is a good place to handle your documents. Now a little bit about the integration. OnlyOffice Docs has open API, and it can be integrated into any open source service. The initial integration occurred in 2014 with OwnCloud. After that integration, we received some feedback, and we developed a new type of integration for our service, so VOPI integration. And now every service that has VOPI connector or VOPI client can be integrated with OnlyOffice. Here you can see a lot of different connectors. These are developed by our team or by our partners. So these connectors just allow very quickly connect OnlyOffice Docs to your DMS system or any other system. And on this slide you can see the benefits of this open API. OnlyOffice has been integrated into more than 300 absolutely different services all around the world. Together with our partners from OwnCloud, we conducted few performance tests, and we were able to handle more than 100,000 of simultaneous connections. What I mean saying simultaneous connections, all these connections remain active, continuously sending some information from client to server. So you don't need to suspend your session, your editing session, or terminate your editing session due to the inactivity, because you don't need it when using OnlyOffice. It's very powerful. Again, 100,000 of simultaneous connections. And we are very proud to be a part of an open source solution based on OwnCloud Infinite Scale for the schools in Germany. There are more than 5 million of users who works with OnlyOffice Docs in the OwnCloud Infinite Scale solution. Teachers, students, staff, everyone is able to work with their documents. You know, OnlyOffice Docs is very flexible and it works on many operating systems and it can be used with many databases. And together with our Kylan team, we, in 2022, I think, yeah, we performed some tests, and now OnlyOffice Docs is certified as supported by Kylan operating system. So the users in China can safely use OnlyOffice Docs on their machines. That's great. Together with Wuhan Domain Database Corporation, we also performed some testing, and now OnlyOffice Docs is certified as supported by DM8 database. And last but not least, we have just received, just a few days ago, we have received a certificate from OpenEuler. So now OnlyOffice Docs is certified as fully supported by OpenEuler operating systems. The most interesting operating systems for one of the most operating systems for digital infrastructures. And now I would like to tell you a little bit about the second flagship of OnlyOffice DocSpace. That's, I think that's a new product. And there are not so many people who know what is it. There are a lot of services, web services all around the world without any kind of document management solutions, and without any document editors integrated, and without even cloud storage platforms integrated. If you have OnlyOffice docs, you are able to integrate everything into your product. The users will be able to create rooms and organize their files clearly structured, depending on their tasks or the project goals. There are few room types available at the moment. The first type is collaboration rooms, which are perfect if you'd like to make use of OnlyOffice collaboration features. You can invite users into the room, setting up the access rights. They will be able to command, to track changes, or to fill form, for example. The next room type is public rooms. What's very interesting, you can invite the people from outside of the service. Different links with different access rights can be generated, and you can send them to anyone. No registration is required here. And one more room type, custom rooms. These allow you to apply your own settings for any custom purpose you have in your mind. It depends on your use case. What do you want to do with your users together? Commenting, tracking changes, form filling, anything. The doc space can be integrated into any solution as an iframe. You can find everything about the integration on our API page, but just trust me, it can be integrated into almost any solution. And we already have few examples with different CRM systems, CMS systems, different messengers. Next example is one of the most popular collaboration solutions on the today's market. So here is OnlyOffice docs for Zoom application. I think that anyone, maybe many of us, can remember him sharing a screen with anyone saying something like, okay, let's write it down together and open a document. But now you don't need to open a document, you don't need to share a screen with anyone or to give control over your screen to anyone. Just install OnlyOffice DocSpace from Zoom Marketplace, that's all. And one more integration is integration with WordPress. You can use your OnlyOffice DocSpace rooms with your WordPress pages or Drupal pages. You can work with your documents without leaving the platform, I mean WordPress or Drupal. One more example of the integration is Zapier that allows you to automate day-to-day routine without writing a line of code. You can use OnlyOffice DocSpace with different applications here, you can see. It can be installed on any server, but if you'd like to give a try, so just scan this QR code or go to onlyoffice.com and find Try OnlyOffice in the cloud. You will be able to test it for free. You know, OnlyOffice started as a small project, but it has grown up into a big product. We have more than 2,500 of employees around the world. And we have more than 1,000 of partners. More than 300 of translators work with us on our interfaces. And more than 600 of contributors on Upwork. You know, about 50 hackers are involved into our HackerOne program. Would you like to be a part of that? Would you like to try participate? So you are welcome to be involved. here are just a few examples. You can develop your own plugin. You have the opportunity to create plugin written on JavaScript, and that's great if you have such opportunity to create new features, especially, for example, if you have any kind of AI experience or if you would like to have it. You're also able to create new connectors if you are a web developer. Just consider adding OnlyOffice editors or OnlyOffice doc space into your service. That will give your users a new experience and new features, of course. You can create different JavaScript macros to automate your day-to-day routine. You can create new form templates. We already have a big library of the forms, free forms, from gift cards to legal agreements. You are welcome. If you are good at spotting bugs or vulnerabilities, just report them on GitHub or HackerOne program. And if you would like OnlyOffice to be translated to your language, so you are welcome to help us with that. You can get some reward for that anyway. And you are welcome to sign up as a beta tester to get early access to new versions, to new features, and even new products of OnlyOffice. And if you would like to write tutorials or guides on your language, again, we would be great to help you. So scan this QR code or find any kind of information on our website if you would like to be involved into the open source document collaboration world. I think that's all for today. We have a booth, and if you'd like, you can come, you can ask any questions here or later, so we can make a demo for you, anything you want. Thank you a lot.
Okay, welcome everyone. So my name is Phuc, the founder of FOSSASIA. I will be moderating this upcoming panel. Today I have here together with me three very special guests. They are coming from a very diverse background. They will share with us today their stories, experience working with the tech community, and they will also share with us best practices, how we can grow the FOSS communities to build a future of tech, spark local innovation, and shape the future of the industry. With that, I would like to introduce our panelists. First of all, I would like to introduce Dr. Ngô Hồng Sơn. So Dr. Sơn is the head of the Faculty of Computer Science at Phuc University. He is also wearing another hat as the chairman of the Vietnam Free and Open Source Software Club, FOSSA. And so welcome, very happy to have you here today. And next to Dr. Sơn, I have here a very famous feature in the tech here in Vietnam. Many young people probably recognize him already. Mr. Hieu, he is the Vice General Director of Viettel Solutions. And he is the co-founder Vietnam OpenStack User Group back in 2013. Hieu, we are very happy to be here. Thank you very much for accepting the invitation. Last but not least, I have next to me Willem Jiang, a guest flying over from Beijing, China. Yeah. So Willem is the open source evangelist of Open Source Program Office at ByteDance. As we know, the company behind TikTok. Your Chinese name is Jiang Ning. Okay. Jiang. Yeah, Jiang is the principal open source evangelist. This is his official title. And similar to Dr. Sơn, he has another hat as well. He is the board director of the Apache Software Foundation in 2023. Welcome to Vietnam. And I hope you like the country, and thank you again for accepting the invitation. So mình có chỉ nói tóm tắt sơ qua, các bạn cũng biết anh Sơn là trưởng khoa công nghệ thông tin bên trường Phenica, còn Hieu các bạn là phó giám đốc của Viettel Solution, và Hieu cũng là người sáng lập ra cái cộng đồng tech rất là lớn ở đây là OpenStack. Còn anh Chan Niễn Willem này là người từ Bắc Kinh qua, là cái người tập trung làm về open source ở công ty ByteDance, là cái công ty TikTok á, thì mình hồi nãy giờ mình biết TikTok, nhưng mà họ có một cái đội làm về mã nguồn mở rất là lớn, thì cái anh này là anh lead cái đội đó. Okay. To kick things off, I would like to ask the panelists the first question, very simple, just to understand a little bit more about your background. Could you provide some insight into your involvement within your own organization and the specific role that you currently undertake? Dr. Song, so with your case, I assume that you can talk about FOSSASIA and your current role as a chairman.
So, hello everyone. My name is Ngô Hồng Sơn from Phenica University. I work there as the Dean of the Faculty of Computer Science just for in my life. And I also serve as the FOSSASIA Chairman as my passion to serve the open source software in Vietnam. And yeah, I think as FOSSASIA Chairman, I act as a person who coordinate activity to develop the open source software community in Vietnam. Okay.
Thank you. So, coordinate the software open source activities. Can you give some examples? What kind of activities FOSSASIA are focusing on?
Yeah, actually in Vietnam, FOSSASIA coordinates a lot of activity related to FOSS. For example, we organize events to such kind of event. For example, this kind of FOSSASIA event. We also celebrate another activity like a Software Freedom Day, and we also coordinate with another community, like for example with OpenStack to broadcast activity related to OpenStack, yeah, etc. A lot of such kind of activity.
Okay, thank you. How about you? Are you still actively involved in OpenStack user group?
Yeah, still active in the development of the OpenStack community in the world. So my name is Hieu. Vietnamese is Hieu, but there are a little bit problem to pronounce, so you can call me huge, big, yeah. And I found the OpenStack cloud computing community in Vietnam more than 10 years ago, and after that I joined. So currently I'm not only the vice general director in Viettel Solution, I'm also the vice chairman of FOSSASIA. So he my boss, and in Viettel and another company. So I have the role for motivate the employee and the developer community inside the company to active involved in the open source community. So we have a team of the contributor to contribute to some of the famous open source software like OpenStack, Kubernetes, Ceph, Prometheus, and we not only contribute to the code but also the design. And we have the team to attend the conference all over the world in the last 5 years. And this not only from Viettel, but also we as the FOSSASIA, we have motivate another company to join the open source activities like FPT, or here there are another company here. Yeah.
This is really amazing. I did not know that Vitel has so many open source contributors.
Yeah.
I know that you are very active, and I know that some people here in the room also the member of OpenStack, but I didn't know the company like give the employees the time to contribute to open source. This is excellent. We need to tell the example more to the world. So Vitel, for the guests in the room, so they are one of the biggest telecom company here in the country. How many people do you have in Vitel Solutions?
The employee,
Yes.
we have more than 30,000
30,000
people in Viettel.
in Vitel. How about the engineers within Vitel Solutions?
Engineer is almost 50%.
50% engineers.
50% engineer.
15,000 engineers.
Yeah.
That is wow.
So the
Amazing.
engineer is not only focused on the developing, but also we focus on the building and operating and R&D. Yeah. We not only work in the normal area, but we work in the military and something else. So that's why the people. And Viettel is not in Vietnam. We have another 10 countries all over the world that we invest. Yeah. So that's why the.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we want to hear more about the story. I understand that there are also a few other speakers from Vitel here at the conference. Yeah. Okay, thank you for getting your team members to join us. How about Willem? So this is your turn. Please tell us a little bit more about what is the open source program office at ByteDance? What do they do exactly? And what is your role?
Yeah, I think we play as a bridge. As you know, open source world is quite different compared to the company side. And for ByteDance, we have a bunch of engineers and who have very passionate about the open source. We are not just using the open source in our product. We also contribute to the upstream and produce the open source project. If you're interested, you can go to our booth. We list our top 7 projects we have. But Wednesday, we have more than 50 projects open sourced. And in this way, I think there are still different ways when we doing the things in open source and in the company side. And one of my important job is just like help the engineer to know better about the open source world and be a good citizens in the open source world and to fertilize the collaborations. And another way is like we are working close with the open source community. And this year's we sponsored the FOSSASIA Summit and try to promote our open source project. And it's like we can build some collaborations in a more widely world in open source.
Yes, I understand. So you mentioned that you have the top 7 open source projects released by ByteDance. Could you name like the top 2 to see if people in the audience are aware of those?
Oh, yeah, such as the Phuc. It's based on the Kubernetes technologies, but we did some, it's a big umbrella project, and we have scheduler or some resource planning sub-projects to address the daily programs in ByteDance. And we just want to share it with the community. And we also, in ByteDance, we also have some cloud service. And in this way, we can build a bridge to talk to the customer, work with the customer on the open source community side, and to get some requirements and to polish the product. And I think this is very unique ways we can do in open source.
Very interesting point. You mentioned that you use the technology within ByteDance, and therefore you contribute and think that it's good to release to the community. I think what you and Hieu mentioned, there's something in common. So actually both companies, and not only Vitel and ByteDance, a lot of big corporations around the world, they contribute a lot to Kubernetes. This is the infrastructure side, right? Could you, Hieu, why you mentioned that your engineer contribute to Kubernetes? also, right? Is that Viettel using the technology within Viettel solution?
So in Viettel we have the first thing we are invest in the open source from 2018, and we use OpenStack and Kubernetes to build our private cloud. And in the last 2 years we opened the new service calling the Viettel Cloud. So this is the public cloud, and that's the reason why we invest more in the in OpenStack and Kubernetes. Yeah, but I'm attending this panel not because I'm from Viettel. Yeah, so I'm the someone called me that open source evangelist, and I have the role of the chairman. So I can say something about Viettel, but I will say more about our open source community in Vietnam. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so thank you everyone here for the insight into what you are doing. So I would like to moving on to the next question. But before that, I would like to ask the audience, các bạn có nghe diễn giả rõ hay không vậy? Các bạn nào mà không nghe rõ giơ tay dùm ở phía sau. Tại mình, tức là các bạn đều có nghe rõ đúng không? Em không nghe rõ hả? So I think that we just speak up a little bit on the mic. So chỉ một chút tóm tắt về cái phần các anh đã thì anh Willem này thì ảnh làm cho cái bộ phận nguồn mở ở ByteDance TikTok, những cái công ty lớn tại sao mà người ta quan tâm tới mã nguồn mở. Lý do là vì họ sử dụng những cái công nghệ mở sẵn có hiện tại trong công ty của họ. Ví dụ cái công ty mình đang sử dụng là Kubernetes, nhưng mà mình cũng muốn cái Kubernetes upstream đó họ sẽ implement những cái feature mà có thể phục vụ cho công ty của mình. Đó là lý do mà những công ty họ contribute back một mặt đó là để có lợi cho công ty của họ, mặt khác đó là cộng đồng có thể review, cộng đồng có thể giúp ích để cho một cái solution tốt hơn cho tất cả. So đó là lý do mà những cái organization hoặc những công ty người ta đầu tư vô open source. Em có nghe rõ không? Okay, very good. So we moving on to the next question. So I would like to ask Dr. Sơn about you running the VFOSSA, the club. Okay? So what do you think are the biggest barriers for newcomers to join and contribute to the communities? What are some of the challenges, the barriers that prevent the newcomers? So for example, here we have some young developer and student. They want to join OpenStack, for example, or they want to join Kubernetes as a contributor, or they want to join FOSSASIA as a member. So what do you think is a challenge for young people, for newcomers? And how can we overcome those challenges?
Okay, so the first point, I think that's open source world is very complex, quite complex. So it is the first barrier to prevent anyone, especially student, for example, or another newbie, to explore the world open source. A lot of projects. It's very diverse, and because now open source already developed for a long time, so when someone to get involved, so they don't know how to start. Yeah, the point we start. Yeah. So this is the first point. Another point is for each specific domain, they require special skill from technical, and also for another kind of issue like English. Yeah, especially for Vietnamese student. So this is another, second thing is the technical and communication skill. Yeah. And also another point, for example, when we get some problem, how to ask people, yeah, who will be the best person to help us to resolve this problem. Yeah. A lot of point. Yeah. So, yeah, I think to overcome this barrier, maybe I don't know the solution. Maybe each one must find his own solution. Yeah. So, for for example, if someone can be very good at technical, yeah, he can join community and then find the solution to get involved in this community. Yeah, yeah. I mean that's a lot of difficulty to get involved in it, and it's almost find its own solution.
Yes, I totally agree with Dr. Song. So first of all, you mentioned about the complexity of open source system. So it's understandable. So many open source solutions developed for a long time, and they already have their own technology stack. And for new joiner, so before you can actually contribute to a project, you need to understand a system. And some system, for example, what can I say, like VLC? I have François, the core developer here at the summit. So basically, it's complex system. In order to get in, you need to understand, and it always takes longer time for the newcomers. The next thing that he mentioned is the language barrier. Yeah. So even if these days, a lot of young people here in Vietnam can communicate fluently and very comfortable with English, but to our culture, right? So we're not like go out there and speak up and connect to people. And another point that you mentioned is how to find the right person, yeah, to ask questions and to get the answer for what you need. So this is some of the challenges. And you also mentioned the what to do to overcome nếu mà các bạn, for example, like technical individual can contribute, like some project they have beginner issue. So this is something that you can start with. Yeah, so, and to add into this, you are running OpenStack, right, 10 years ago, yeah? So how many members do you have now in OpenStack?
5,000.
5,000 members, yeah?
Community member.
Yeah, community members. How many people actually contribute code?
Code is around 100.
Yeah, so maybe you could share a little bit, add on to what Dr. Seo mentioned about the strategy to get newcomers on board. So what would be the effective strategy to promote knowledge sharing and skill development within the FOSS community?
Yeah, so the true thing, also I have some visits to the company and some university. So there are two tickets that I want to share some thoughts. The first one is for the newcomer as a student. So because you may meet some barrier to join the FOSS community. So the first thing is you need to know the concept of the open source. It's not only about the open license, the OSI model or something else, but also the goal of the product and the goal of the community to avoid some barrier that the community do not want to meet. And the second thing that you as a newcomer and mostly the student need to think is that is your opportunity to improve your skill, and you will have a better job to join the open source community, because you will have a public profile and your CV is almost proof via your contribution. So we in Viettel and another company, we have some special interest in who join and contribute to the open source community. So the first thing is talking with the newcomer and the student, that as the individual contributor to the community. The second thing is about the company. So if you have a product that based on the closed source, so you need to spend your manpower into invest in R&D and something else. But if you use open source and you have your team come up with the public developer in all over the world, if you choose the best open source product to invest in, so you will save your manpower, and then you will improve the skill of your the engineering teams. So thinking about the open source as an opportunity for not only the individual but also the company. So that's why in last 10 years, the principle of the cloud computing, open source cloud computing in Vietnam is 3C. The first thing is the community. The second thing is the company. And the last thing is the the university college, the 3C. So we need to work and keep the relationship between the 3C company, community, and the college to gain from education, not only the education to the company, and then motivate the.
That is a very good point. So you mentioned companies, communities, and education. We actually have 3 people here can represent the 3 entities. So we have company, community, and someone represent education. So this is a very good panel that we have here. Hieu mentioned about the idea of open source. So the reason why we brought the open source FOSSASIA Summit to Vietnam, so at the conference 3 days, you can learn a lot about not only the concept of open source, but different software projects that you can use and contribute, and for the student, right? Cho các bạn trẻ đó, như anh Hiếu này có nói đó, là khi mà bạn contribute thì sẽ tạo ra được rất là nhiều cái cơ hội việc làm sau này. Chẳng hạn như công ty người ta tuyển nhân viên hay là tuyển lập trình viên thì người ta sẽ dựa vào những cái contribution trong có thể thấy ở trên Git hoặc là GitHub, GitLab này nọ để người ta biết được những cái kỹ năng của bạn như thế nào. Thì cái open source không phải là chỉ là ok xài free, cái gì cũng free, nhưng mà thật ra là có rất là nhiều công ty lớn adopt và cũng có thể là tạo ra được rất là nhiều cơ hội của việc làm cho các bạn trong tương lai. Back to Willem. So Hieu touched on the relationship between community and company. So actually, there's always a tension between commercial interests, and the ethos of openness and collaboration within the FOSS communities. How we can navigate this tension?
You mean to ease the tensions, or normally I think for the company. There's a business need to run. It's not charity organizations, and so when we talk about open source projects, there's some beneficial could bring to the company, and but I think the most important things that's we pitches for the project for company to approve the project is more like. It will help us to build up certain kinds of standard, and if the people, more and more people adopt these standards, it will benefit for the company. But I think it's not the easy ways to go that, and because there's a lot of choice, people can choose different implementations, and sometimes we. I think especially for the cloud provider, it's open up a way for us to collaborate with the customer. And I used to work for a big tech company, just Huawei, and we had these kind of issues before. It's like when we do some design in-house, it's really hard for us to meet the needs of the other customer. So normally, if we want to provide some good service to them, we send the people to the customers, and there may be a private branch there. And for one customer, it's okay. 2, it's okay. But if they scale up to 10 or 20 or 30, we don't have this kind of resources. And with help of the community in an open source way, it will help us to merge those features together, and we just need to maintain one branch. It saves a lot of developer resources, and I think this is quite beneficial we can get. And in this way, I'm still promote these kind of things, and when we talk about the new projects that come out from ByteDance, we just promote the upstream first principle, and make sure we can merge those things together, and if we can collaborate with the community, just like Kubernetes, we contribute it, and it will save us a lot of time to maintain the private branch. And I think this is quite important. And I used to work for Red Hat, and I think Red Hat just built the softwares with the open source community, and it's really a good way to do it. So from my understanding, there sometimes could be some interesting conflict, but if we can address it in a more easy way and to foster the communicate and collaboration, it's much easier for us to do the job.
Yeah, so you mentioned about bridging the gap between the open source communities and commercial interests. I just want to ask you a quick question. So for example, within ByteDance, so does the company offer any incentives for engineers to contribute to the open source upstream that they rely on?
Oh, yeah, we try to build these kind of things because I think ByteDance is more a business-driven company, but for the engineer, they are very, from engineer perspective, if they can show their work to the public, it's a great incentive. And if they can get the respect from the community, I think they really need to do a lot of things, but there's still some conflict because the engineer may not have the extra time to do this because they have a lot of work to do. And so we are working on these parts, and in the meantime, we also try to collect the contributions from our developers to recognize them, to just like, it's really a good way for us to build a good image in the public. And we are still thinking, we also provide some open source ambassador programs, and in this way, so we can let the engineer who has open source experience to share, to showcase their progress, and to inspire more engineers to join us. But to be honest, there's still a long way to go.
Yes, I understand. So basically what you mentioned is the initiative actually coming from the engineers themselves, so the bottom-up movement. So if there are more people within the company promote free software and open source, at one point the company would see the importance and start to invest in the topic. Yeah, so I think it's quite a, it's similar to the normal situation like everywhere. I also talked to a few companies in Europe, in Germany, and they follow the same path. So in the beginning, a group of engineers getting together in the company promote free software and open source, and then at one point the company would go to respond to the need and the wish of the employees.
Yeah, and there's another thing is like when I do my day job, I need to wear different hat. Yeah. And one is for the company, the other part is for the community. And I, as a board of director of the Application Software Foundation, we saw there's a company common. There's some collaborations between the companies, and sometimes. Yeah, the company can drop up because there's maybe some misunderstanding or some things, and be a bridge and think about the community interest is quite important. And with these two hats, it will help us to solve this kind of problem together.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that. Mình muốn nói một chút xíu về không phải tóm tắt ý này, tất cả những cái anh đang ngồi trên này á, là đều có không chỉ làm việc ở công ty là không chỉ công tác ở công ty, công tác ở các trường đại học, mà các anh đều có những cái chức vụ khác ngoài cái công việc chính của mình, là đóng góp cho cộng đồng và promote, và giống như là promote cái technology, promote cái user group and community outside cái công việc hàng ngày của các anh ở đây. Trước khi mà mình câu hỏi Tiếp theo á, các bạn ở trong ngồi đây có câu hỏi gì cho panelists không? Okay, so I see a question there.
Hello, my name is Guangzhou. I'm from VTIT. I want to ask you guys something like, when you are working in outsourcing, what we need to do is going to be coming from our customer, right? So that's mean we need to flexibility about our programming languages. So when another programming language is coming out, because we are making technologies going so fast right now, do we need to take so much time to learn it? And when we learn it, we still need to work, right? So how can we be ensured that we can make the deadline to maybe complete it to customer? So that's the first question. So the another question is gonna be like, maybe I just forgot it. So you guys just need to take this first question. So thank you.
Okay, so let me see if I can understand the question. So you're talking about when the fast throw of different technologies and how we can adapt so quickly with what's coming out in the industry to be able to learn it so quickly and to offer it to the customer. Is that the main idea of the question? Yeah. So how engineer can pick up a new technology so quickly that they be able to offer it to their customer in the market. So, you know, after a few years, we have a new technology come out. So in my opinion, I think that maybe Dr. Sheng in education. So someone here, I don't know if he's in the audience, is it Rich or someone said that if you're an engineer, you can learn any languages. This is correct. Any engineer here. Yeah, so if you learn one language, you can also easily learn another language very quickly. That's correct. Yeah. You want to take this?
Yeah. I think if you want to catch up the latest technology, it's really a challenge. But I think if you work close with the open source community in certain areas, there's some just like influencer or KOL that can give you some inspirations, and especially if there's some experienced developers. If you follow their Twitters or something, you can always see some interesting things. And if you try it out, and you can have a quick test if this is technology can solve your daily problem. And I think the beauty of the open source is you can take it very easily. And because all the information is in the internet. And you can also ask questions if you are not familiar with that. And open source community is quite helpful. And if you drop a mail to the mailing list, you will get a response from somebody you never meet before, but you will get their help from the heart. And in this way, so just keep asking questions and seek for help, and you will find out a quick way to learn about that. And if you practice several years, you know how to learn the new tech in a very quick way.
So to give you some additional information, so I think there are two things to consider about getting the newest technology as soon as possible. The first thing is you need to think about what is the value that you will bring to you and your company that you work, to ensure that you will get at least the value of the work. Because if you learn about the new technology, but what you do about your product cannot go production in your company or something else. So this is is a waste of time. So first thing you need to ensure that. The second thing is you need to know about the community and join, go meeting with them in IRC or in video conference or attending the conference like this. So you will have a chance to work with the developer community and learn about the concept about the designing this and why they use this technology. So there are two things. The most important thing that I think that you need to consider about learning. And I can give you an example here. So in an below here you have the new Trumano community, the open source community in Vietnam. That is the HFF community that they form a new open source product to resolve the problem about the performance of the streaming media server or SDN, and because they want to reduce the cost inside of the company, the cost about the operation, OPEX cost, and they want to get the better quality of the media server. So they form and they release a new product. The technology they use is Rust language because they want to reduce as soon as possible. And Rust is a very high performance language. This is very hard for the newcomer to join the community. But this is the target and this is what they want to get the value. And yeah, only two manual, but there are some global developer that come show some interest. There are some individual developer from Google, AMD, some guys is from Biden, if I recall correctly. Yeah, so this is the interesting of the open source, and this is the value of that on the open source community that aim to. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Does it answer your question? Bây giờ mình sẽ nói một chút tiếng Việt. Thì hồi nãy cái bạn này có hỏi á, là công nghệ thay đổi mới như vậy, biết học cái nào á, mà có thể là đáp ứng được nhu cầu của thị trường, rồi những cái công nghệ mới ra đó làm sao mà học kịp, tại vì khi ở trường lớp á, thì chưa chắc gì đã học được những cái mà người ta cần, đúng không? Thì như các anh ở đây trên đây đã nói á, thực ra là join cái open source community là một cách. Tại vì khi mà các bạn đã tới đây thì những cái mà technology mà các bạn nhìn ở trong cái program hôm nay á, thực ra là những cái technology mà hiện tại các công ty đang sử dụng, là những cái technology mới bây giờ. Còn nếu muốn học á, thì cái open source đưa ra cái điều kiện rất là tốt là có thể là hỏi những cái anh chị trong cộng đồng, và những cái code này nọ đều open hết. Có nhiều cách học trên trường lớp hoặc là học trực tiếp, là người ta viết code như thế nào, người ta mở code cho mình thì mình dựa vào đó mình tự học. Thì để mà to open source also like joining the community, understand the collaboration and the openness of open source could be adding into your question how you can learn so quickly and get into the industry. So I hope that answered your question. So we don't have time to take another question from you,
okay.
but I hope that satisfy you. To continue, I would like to ask Dr. Sung similar topic, right? So he asking about like getting into the new technology. So I want to know what role do education institutions play in nurturing the FOSS and the tech talent in contributing to these communities that Hieu mentioned or Willem mentioned just now.
Yeah. Actually, education organizations can do a lot to support the open source community. For example, this event, for example, located at PGS.TS, and we have a lot of speakers, we have a lot of activity related to open source, and this is one of very valuable activity that an educational organization can bring to our students. Yeah. And not only PGS, but we have also a lot of students from a network of university, at least 10 or 12 universities over Hanoi come here, and this is a very good chance for them. Yes, and another thing, of course, educational organizations now they adapt a lot of open source in their course, in their curriculum. Yeah. Of course, in the university you have the education, training, and also innovations, and we should integrate the FOSS the FOSS strategy in our curriculum, and by this way, our students can learn and can get adopt to the FOSS community. Yeah. Actually, for the research and innovations, a lot of ideas from the FOSS can adopt in the work of researcher and also the engineer. So, yeah, by exploiting the literature and introduce new idea using FOSS, we can have a lot our students to for the future if they can use open source. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you. I just want to mention that I think the last 3 days I have met at least 20 lecturers from different universities at the conference. So that is a very positive side for the summit, because not only like the students, the developers come here to learn something, but the educators like yourself, Mr. Sung. So I just want to mention again, he's the head of the Faculty of Computer Science at a very big university here. So if you support open source and bring the idea to your university, how many students actually in the department of
at this point, you have around 2,000 students.
2,000 students. So if we can get this 2,000 students at one point to become the new open source contributors, that would really helpful for the ecosystem. I think we start a little bit like 2 minutes later. So I think I would take one more question from the audience. If there is any other question from the audience, we have time for one more question. Please. In the middle.
So I have only one question. Am I right? Only one question. So I have only one question.
Yes,
right?
please.
All right, cool. So I'm really honored to be here at,
Can
to
you
meet
stand
all
up?
the specialists. Sitting is okay. I'm had, I got the problem, so better for me to think. So I got the question for Mr. Hieu and his boss about the community in Vietnam. So the young generation and the guy over there from the universities are able to make resources for the open source in the future, right? And what I hear from you guys, for me, is a little bit theoretically problems. As you go around, hey, we have to go to the open source community and we upstream and we have a support from other people, but I really want to hear the strategy for the reaction to the future. So what would be strategy of the FOSSA in the future to nurture generations, to nurture the new generation and nurture the open source community in Vietnam, for example? And let's go straight to the point, like, hey, 1 month we're going to have a open talk about open source. Another month we're going to have, the meeting with the university in Vietnam. So I really want to hear what exactly the strategy and the mindset the FOSSA is going to drive the growth of the open source in Vietnam. That's it.
So let me sum up the question. So you would like to hear the strategy to nurture fostering the open source idea and movement in the country. Is that what you're asking?
You're right. Yeah, but not going around and around. It's talking about theory, how we have to go to upstream. But we don't want to see the real actions, real activities, because people are just here like, hey, we have to upstream, we have community, right? But how to join? Well, FOSSA, I think FOSSA is the biggest community in Vietnam, the representative for all of the open source community, and they need to have specific strategy to drive it, and I don't hear it.
Okay. So, okay, I got the question. So maybe I will answer, and then you can ask later. We discussed a lot about how to develop open source community in Vietnam on behalf of FOSSA. We find some problem. First is that FOSSA is not gather enough member in Vietnam. We have only 60 or 70 company member. That means not so big. So I think we can get bigger than that. This year or next year, we call for the participant of more company, more group to join us. Yeah, I think you can get at least, for example, 200 or 300 company to join us, to support us. We must get larger. Now a little bit small. Yeah. The second thing is that we need the support from the government. Yeah. At this moment, I think the government still does not support enough. For example, we ask government to use open source solutions. The government should use a solution based on open source in their organizations, but still not enough. Okay, so this is a very good example to reduce costs, to increase transparency in the government, and this is one of our future work to persuade the government to use more open source in their organization. Another thing, for example, in education, we found that not so much OER, for example, are used in university, in school. Yeah, only a few. But now you see open educational resource in the world, there are a lot. But in Vietnam, still very small amount of OER are used in school, in university. Yeah. So this is another point that we can do a lot in the future. And for in research, for example, sorry, a little bit hard. When we work with European research projects, they require us to use open source software in all the world in the research. But in Vietnam, no obligations. You can use commercial software in research funded by government. It's not so reasonable. Yeah, so that's some point that people can do in the future. And also, of course, another thing that we should have the more company to involve us in this.
So
okay.
I think this question is a very good question to conclude this panel. Thank you very much for that question. So how we can push more in open source? What are the real action that we can do? So I can talk on the FOSSASIA. I'm representing FOSSASIA here. So over the past few years, we have trained thousands of developers from everywhere around the world to join the ecosystem. And a few things that Odie mentioned here today, we organize gathering like this, face-to-face, where people can meet and learn from each other. So if we have more people who do this kind of activities, organize meetup, organize an events, create a platform where people can connect. So this is first. The second thing, Mr. Sheng mentioned, education. We need more professors, we need more lecturers to bring the idea to their university. And the third point, which is someone represent the company here, we need initiative coming inside the company to promote the idea and get more engineers to contribute to the ecosystem. And to sum up, everyone here in the audience, we can all do our job. So we need more people. If we want to train more people, we need more people to promote the idea and to talk about different solutions that we can have to sustain the world. So with that, I would like to end the panel here, and a very big round of applause for our panelists, please. Thank you very much for your participation.
maybe some miss. So I want to correct a little bit because Dr. Sơn mentioned about the open education resource, not only the education that you mentioned, right? Yeah. So because in Vietnam we not only on open source software, we have the open source hardware, or we have the open education, and we have a little bit about open policy. So like for example, we in 63 provinces, the Prime Minister of Vietnam issues the DTI, so the Digital Transformation Index, that have some item to request every government system open the API for another company to access. Another thing that in the last year we have the issues, the decrees 1177 from Prime Minister to order on the universities in Vietnam that have the open education resource that following that program. So this is the politics and the governance policy. Besides that, we have some like event or some meetup or some community in Vietnam that Dr. Sơn mentions. So do not think about open source software that we have developer or users, we have open hardware, we have the open policy, and we have the open education resource that we can gather more and motivate to contribute more. So that's correct. Yeah.
Yes, so that is excellent to mention that Vietnam is really open to adapt open source in different levels, and we can find more information on the...
You can ask Mr. Sơn here, he's chairman of FOSSA, or here is Mr. Nghĩa, the founder of the OER in community in Vietnam. Yeah, so mostly you can ask Mr. Sơn. Thank you.
And so with that, thank you for mentioning open source hardware and policy. We actually have open source hardware track going on at the moment in room 102. I believe. So if you're curious about what is open source hardware or what are the projects that develop this day in the community, you can visit the hardware track. Once again, thank you very much.
Yeah, hi. I'm thinking, like, should we just use the time productively while we're setting up? So you guys all work in Web3, yeah? Could you share a bit, like, just very briefly about yourself? That's interesting. But, like, also, like, maybe what's your role in the Web3 community? How did you find out about Web3 originally? Maybe that's a question, because I think we have a lot of people here who maybe also new to the Web3 topic.
Sure, yeah. Hi, I'm Andre Berlin. I got into Web3 about 2017 because I was working at a design studio and I wanted to create an own design studio, and Web3 seemed to want to benefit from that. We still see a lot of applications that need better user experiences or user experience design. So I just went to conferences and started meeting people that I can work with, and based on that developed the design studio called Deep Work, and over the course of time learned more and more about how the Web3 space operates and the philosophy and what is actually possible with that technology, and now it's turned more into organizational design. So a lot of what I'm doing now is helping startups and teams organize better, work together more efficiently, get some deep work done, even in a stressful environment, pun intended, and help startups basically creating sustainable businesses and products that will eventually make them money in the long term.
Awesome, thank you. So everyone, really glad to have you join us, and thanks for bearing with the technical difficulties. So Andre, thanks for the introduction. I would like to go around robin and just have everyone introduce themselves and maybe give us a background, like Mario said, how they got into Web3. We've got a really interesting mix of people over here, so excited to hear from your experience. Maybe Denver, you want to go first after Andre?
Sure. My name is Denver, a little unusual from the place where I'm from. I'm from India. And we just started just doing hackathons a couple of years back, I think around 2015 when we were in university. Around 2018, we came across this technology called Ethereum and thought, why not run with a hackathon on it? Because it's new and exciting, and let's see what it's all about. And that one hackathon proved to be, very life-changing for a lot of people, not just the hackers and the audience, but us too. And we slowly realized the potential of Ethereum, and now and Web3. And now I'm thinking more on the lines of how DIDs, which are like decentralized IDs, and reputation mechanisms, and Web3 can be a fit. So that's what we are working towards after doing hackathons and fellowships and grant programs in the space since then.
Can you maybe tell us a little bit about what a hackathon is, in case someone here doesn't know what a hackathon is?
Yeah, sure. So hackathons are like competitions or contests where like you have like a set number of hours, let's say 24 hours or 36 hours or a weekend in like an online, it can be online hackathon or in-person hackathon. And hackers or developers come there and build prototypes of apps. And why do they do that? Because A, it's fun. It's fun to build with your friends. It's fun to learn. And also third, there are prizes. So there are usually prizes at the end of the hackathon, and there is a set of industry folks from the industry who come and judge your projects. And that's what hackathons are all about, and they are pretty fun to organize themselves, so that's why we do that.
Awesome, thanks. And Nathan, maybe you can go next and tell us a little bit about your journey and what you're up to over here at FOSS Asia as well.
Sure. Hello everyone, I'm Nathan. I'm part of the DevCon team, that is the big event organized by the Ethereum Foundation. It will happen this year in Bangkok in November. And we're also supporting this event, FOSSASIA, and many events leading up to DevCon throughout the year in the region. So very excited to be here in Vietnam. Also I'm based in France. We're leading the community here with an NGO called Ethereum France. We do community initiatives there. We do French content. We organized a large conference called EdCC as well. And yes, I'm very happy to be here.
What brought you to Web3?
I discovered Web3 and Ethereum through the lenses of financial technologies, mainly, and quickly discovered that it could be used for many other topics. So I supported projects like gaming projects, or also zero knowledge projects, so like into privacy and privacy topics.
Awesome. I'll give you a little bit of background on myself. I'm Sharmini. I'm the founder of Influence Media. We're a Web3 marketing agency, and we're one of the partners of FOSS Asia, and we're super proud to bring all the Web3 community together here and blend this silo between open source and Web3, because we're all tech stacks. We want to build towards use cases that generally support growth in different regions, and we're excited to be here. And now, Mario, thank you so much for hosting this space. Maybe you can talk a little bit about FOSS Asia as well.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have this hackathon. I mean, many know that FOSS Asia organized many hackathons over the years, and that we're a big supporter of the decentralized web. Personally, I was already building mesh networks in the 2000s, and then first in Germany, later did some projects even like in Afghanistan, and trying to enable people to decentralize without a central control. So I really love that idea of Web3. And back in the days, I was in Seabase in the 2000s, and the Bitcoin was at 32 euros, and many people said, no, I'm not going to pay that much money for it, right? So it has really evolved, and there are a lot of opportunities for people all around the world, and we now have this online hackathons where people from Vietnam, from everywhere could participate. And I'm really thrilled to have this ceremony here now with the FOSSASIA community. We had hackathons like already with Daimler back in the days in 2018 and so on, and now we have it here with our partner Chainlink. And Chainlink is a great friend here of the community, great supporter of many hackathons, so we're going to see a lot of Chainlink in future, and we're very excited to really have them here today. So, Shamini, how is that going to go now?
I guess I will jump up. It's just easier to navigate
jump
this
up
way.
And show us a bit like what's the plan here in the ceremony today. And there's a big surprise here for me in regards to the winners. We weren't expecting that because this is an online hackathon and it's now streamed around the world. We have many viewers across the world, and here are some of the partners that we have. Shamini, please tell us more about our partners.
Awesome. So yeah, these are our sponsors for the hackathon. They made it a reality. They came in, they gave us prizes to put together, and we worked with DevFolio. Thank you very much for helping us with all that support. We ran an online hackathon. We had more than 1,100 submissions, of which we had 46 applications that came through that fit the requirements. And from there, we've selected a couple of prizes that we want to share with you guys. We're going to share some videos from the presenting teams, and we will also talk to some of the jury about what it is specifically that they liked about the prizes. Prizes up for grabs are best use of Chainlink. Chainlink was our prime sponsor, and they have selected the best use of Chainlink from all the submissions. We also have the jury's choice. We worked really hard deliberating last night, guys. So there was lots of thought put into this one. And finally, the most innovative use case that we've seen within the submissions as well. I'm going to move to the next slide. I think Nathan will like this one.
Shamini, I would say a big round of applause for our sponsors. What do you say?
Oh, of course.
Big round
Round of applause for the sponsors, guys. I was going to save it for the end, but you know, we can do 2 rounds. I wasn't quite done with our sponsors, actually, because you can also win tickets to DevCon. So Nathan, if you want to talk about DevCon and then what we are doing with all the hackathon submissions, we are offering a 50% discount to every hackathon participant that delivered a project before the deadline. And the Ethereum team has picked something where they like the project the most, and then we'll be sharing which project has won the prize. So without much further ado, guys. Oh, I already talked about this. 1,158 applications, 46 submissions. This is what we got in the space of our hackathon. And now, best use of Chainlink. So I need to play this video. Is it fine if I just play it from here? Yeah? So this is the winning team from the best use of Chainlink. It's BetBlock. I'll let you guys watch the video, and then we can walk a little bit into why this was the choice for Chainlink. Whoops. 1 second. There's no sound. There's no sound. One second, guys. Oops. So BetBlock was a project that was looking to use Chainlink's technology to create some sort of interface and betting project using CCIP, as I understand it. So one of the reasons we really like this project, and you will see it when the video does play, it was really well done. Really slick design, really nice user interfaces and flows, and a lot of deep thinking around how someone would interact with that project. That's why I voted for that. I'm curious, guys, anyone else want to put in like some thoughts on BetBlock, or we can go in?
Sure. I think, yeah, first of all, like I think gaming and Web3 is poised to be really big going ahead. In fact, for those of you who don't know, Vitalik essentially was the founder of, was co-creator of Ethereum. He actually built Web3 because one day his, I think, Blizzard account or something got like taken away from him, like his stats and everything, and he was so furious. He was like, hey, let me make a decentralized platform, and essentially that never happens again. And anyway, that's the story that he used to go with in his bio. And yeah, like so, Web3 in gaming is like has its origins in Ethereum since a while now. And what these folks have done is try and give NFT profile to you. An NFT is a non-fungible token, so it's a record of your achievements that's attached to you, and that will evolve using Gen AI based on whether like how you win and your achievements. So that's interesting. They've also built stuff for in-game assets, you know, stuff like trading skins and stuff. So that kind of thing within gaming, and overall pretty cool.
Thanks for helping me fill that space. I think we have sound working now, so let's see if that works out.
Similar to the PlayStation user experience, but for blockchain Web3 games. So let's go into the app. Here you can see there's 3 main parts of BetBlock. Let's start with the community first. In the community, you can see featured profiles with everyone's NFT profile picture, as well as a leaderboard based on on-chain achievements in the games on BetBlock. So we can see who's on the leaderboard. Here's my profile with my AI-generated NFT profile picture. I chose a gamer girl. And we'll go back, we can see Dance with his robot NFT profile picture. So far there's no activity yet, but it'll update as you play games on chain. So let's create our own profile picture here. I'm going to pick a winning gamer because that's what I want to be on this app. And we'll generate the NFT. I'll approve the transaction. And just to let you know what's happening behind the scenes, the smart contract uses Chainlink functions to send a request to our own BetBlock API, which has its own IPFS server. The images are being generated by OpenAI's DALL-E 3, and the NFT is being minted on Avalanche Fuji's testnet chain. Since this may take a little bit of time, since it's a lot of information to generate, we can explore the rest of the app and come back to it. But let's just refresh first to see. Oh, wait, looks like it's already generating an image. And here's your winning gamer. Okay, nice. So now that my profile is set up, I want to start generating activity to showcase on my profile. So let's start playing some games. This is a European version of the roulette game. You can see all of your potential bets and payout odds here. And the bet amount is placed in link. So I'm going to place 0.1 link, and I'm going to have a bunch of different bets. We'll do some split bets and column bets as well. Okay, now before I submit the bet, let's just take note of how much link I have in my wallet. Oh, I'm on the wrong network, 1 second. This contract is deployed on Mumbai. Okay, since I had to switch networks here, we just have to replace our bets. So let's pick some bets to make. Okay, awesome. So now let's take note one more time. There is 36.134 link. Now let's submit our bet and approve the link and approve the transaction. Now, while this is running in the background, we'll talk about what's happening with this contract. This contract uses Chainlink VRF to randomly generate a winning value with each bet placed. And it also uses Chainlink automation. So once a player places a bet, the contract automatically rolls the dice, as you can see is happening here with the spinning transaction, and then calculates your winning values based on the payout odds and what the random result is, and then automatically withdraws your winnings to your wallet. And here we go. So 28 was rolled, and I got 0.4 link back based on my bets. So let's just check, make sure I have the link in my wallet. And here we go, 35.034 link. So that was added to my wallet automatically with Chainlink automation.
All right, I'll pause it over there. This was the winner for Chainlink, and this is the best use of Chainlink within all the submissions that we've had during the hackathon. I don't want, like, we will be sharing a blog post with all the winners after we conclude the FOSS Asia conference. So if you want to dive into more detail, watch this space. So I'm going to go into our next prize now, which is the jury's choice. So over here, we're super excited. It was a local team that won this prize. I don't know if they're here or not, but they are. We have them here. We would love to have you on stage. Please come up. Please come up and, like, you know, thank you so much for participating. And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about, oh, let me play the video in the background. Sorry. Please come up on stage. I'll turn down the music for the moment so everyone can meet you guys. Welcome, please. Come on stage. Thank you so much. I'm Sharmini. Nice to meet you. This is Mario. Would you like to talk a little bit about your project?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm so nervous right now. Yeah. Talk a little bit about my project. Yeah, my team had five members. This in here is three. Yeah, my project the platform to its name is Housing Connector. In Vietnam, you can know that the system for investor can be investing in real estate. Some investor can join a group and can be invest money. Yeah, to when our platform can take this money to buy some land, real estate. Therefore, we can get the profit to share to our investor. Yeah, the time is so, I'm so nervous right now, so I can't talk anymore. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, I'd really love to invite Phuc, the founder of FOSS Asia, to join us on stage to give these guys medals for the prize. Could we please?
Yes. Want to?
Yes, I think we'll let the guests to give the prize. But I just want to say
would
that
you guys like to present medals?
So the team, they're very nervous to be on stage, and I think that they're very surprised. Yeah, yeah. Congratulations, everyone.
Go ahead, please. One each. Legit. Go Vietnam!
Amazing job.
Thank you so much, guys. And I mean, really appreciate you guys taking part. Really appreciate the work that you put in. Thank you. time, maybe we can cut the music and take it down a little bit. I just want to spend some time, because I know this was a real favorite amongst the judges, and hear from you guys what it is exactly that stood out to you about this particular project and why it's won the jury's choice. Maybe Andre, you can start speaking towards that.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I really like the project for the most part because it was very well researched, and I like seeing projects that align on a specific niche and try to find out a lot of information about a particular problem that's a real-world problem. And I agree that cities are changing the way they are, not just in Vietnam, also in other places. And it's kind of nice to see that that is, that you're trying to find opportunities for improvement for the existing systems and facilitate that change with the blockchain technology in mind. So yeah, very, very nice to see. And yeah, the user experience also looks pretty smooth.
We love a non-financial use case, don't we? Anyways, Denver, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think I agree with everything Andrew said, and also one thing that was cool for me is I think these students, they did not know anything about blockchain before they participated in the hackathon. They formed a team and then they learned the tech, picked a real problem and did some fair amount of execution. So that was pretty cool for me to see.
Super great to see, guys. So now let's move on to the next prize that we're here to present. Just to remind you, each of these prizes are getting $1,000 from Chainlink and also security audit credits from Quill Audit, one of our partners. Now we have the most innovative use case. This is ChainPay, DeFi for enterprises.
Project which is ChainPay. This ChainPay is like it is like a multi-chain payment system, payment gateway, just like we have Razorpay for our traditional payments. What does ChainPay does? It has seamless integration. You can integrate the ChainPay into in a website. It has multi-chain. One of the multi-chain support. One of the core features of our project is we have multi-chain support. So that you can transfer your tokens through multiple chains. This is implemented through using Chainlink TCP/IP BMM tokens protocol. So another biggest feature for our project is security. As everything is decentralized, and so which plays a crucial role in the security features. And coming to efficiency, so as the project is hosted on the test networks, it might be slow for the transactions. So if there is a possibility for the extension of this project, and if it is hosted on the main networks, then the performance of this project will be gradually increased. Yeah, this is the dashboard where we'll show the entire things. Now let's go to the let's start this connecting to the wallet. As you can see, I have already selected like I have already created a contract. So for testing purpose, what I will do is I will remove this contract and I will add another contract. See, this is how it looks when you come to the dashboard. So this is a dashboard where you can see all the details. And when you go to the main section where the merchant will select the blockchain. For example, if we choose these 10 blockchains are supported blockchains where you can transfer the tokens. For example, let me choose Sepolia testnet. So when the user selects when the merchant selects the Sepolia testnet and clicks on the deployment, so that smart contract will be deployed on the Sepolia test network. And as you can see that I am doing the payment transaction details. So now currently it is deploying. Once it is deployed, we will get the contract address here itself. So with the help of this contract address, we will be interacting with the smart contracts. Coming to this section, once as you can see that the contract is now deployed. So as the contract is now deployed, here we will be having these options to enable to enable the currencies which we want actually. For example, I want to accept the currencies in Fiji testnet. I can click on this active button. So now what happens? It will call the function and it'll activate. It'll allow this Fiji testnet tokens on my network. As you can see that now it is activated, so that this kind of token, like the tokens coming to this blockchain, can be accepted in my wallet. Coming to the payment system, the payment gateway which we have designed. See, like it starts like this. Now what we chosen is we have utilized CPP Chainlink CPP protocol behind the scenes, which makes us easy to transfer the tokens between the different blockchains. So to enable the blockchain transfers, so what we need to do is we need to deposit some sort a token which is known as link token, which is given by the Chainlink itself. So I will now itself I will deposit some token into the contract address. So which will be.
I'm just conscious of time, guys. So I will pause over there. But
so
this is ChainPay
for transaction purpose actually. Let me get this.
So this was ChainPay, and this is the winner of the most innovative use case. We've gone through all our cash prizes, and now I want to hand over to Nathan, who will talk a little bit about the prize that he chose for Ethereum Foundation's prize, where the entire team is going to be getting free tickets to DevCon. It's a super cool event. They hold it every year. And it's where people come together, really understand what we're building together in the Web3 space, in the Ethereum community. And go ahead, Nathan, tell us a little bit more about, I'll pause this, don't worry.
Suspense is kicking in.
There we go. Let's talk about your prize.
So for the Ethereum prize, we chose the project called $Link. So congrats to the winner. We liked a couple things about this project. The fact that he was using technologies like account abstraction and making the user experience as easy as possible. It was quite impressive. Most importantly, the idea was well thought of. I think it's also addressing markets and the businesses more specifically. So he was addressing interesting actors of the ecosystem that are a bit under-addressed at the moment, and taking into account and keeping in mind the ease of use for the platform. So we thought that the idea was well conceived, and it was also, again, using concepts like account abstraction or gas sponsorship that are very much helping the user experience and are on top of our minds in the Ethereum ecosystem. So we liked the way, again, yeah, it was well thought of and tackling the right problems. So congrats to the $Link team, and it was a nice project. So we would like for the winning team to be invited at DevCon.
Yeah, we'll coordinate that. Nathan, tell us a little bit more about your goals in Southeast Asia and what's happening in DevCon.
Okay, yes, sure. Well, DevCon will happen in Bangkok in November this year, where we are aiming at involving as many communities from the Southeast Asian community to be present there. We hope to invite a lot of people from Vietnam. There is also an initiative called Road to DevCon happening at the moment, where we support and incentivize community organizers to build meetups and to organize meetups leading up to DevCon, and ideally to build long-lasting communities in the region. So we are here, the foundation, and with the program called Road to DevCon to support you guys. If you are willing to organize initiatives or meetups in Vietnam as well, we would love to support these kind of initiatives. So yeah.
So Nathan's your guy. If you want to run an event supporting Ethereum, you want to come talk to this man. He's going to be at the Ethereum booth. And we have a lot of exciting things planned in Southeast Asia for Web3. Come find out more. Come speak to us. We're very, very much here to talk to you about this industry, to talk to you about what we're building, and also just answer any of your questions that you might have. I think with that, that's really it, guys. Thanks so much for being part of the jury. Thanks so much for having this hackathon, Mario. FOSSASIA has been a great partner in making this all happen, and I really appreciate everyone's time.
Thank you so much.
You.